A look at ESG investing. ESG stands for environmental, social and governance, meaning how a company relates to people in the world, things in the world, and its supply chain and the people that work for it. It can also be known as socially responsible investing, and funds may have ESG, SRI, or sustainable in their title. I'm going to cover how to research such funds and then look at the price performance and characteristics of the best funds. Should these funds be a core holding, or are they more of a niche for a smaller satellite holding? It can be tricky finding ESG funds as there isn't a specific sector for them. An ESG fund could exist on a global level, regional level, or even a factor level, such as small cap. For ETFs, we can go to the website justetf.com. We select search on ETFs and then select within equity, environmental, social, and we get a list of over 100 ETFs. However, the problem is that a lot of ESG ETFs simply avoid a few companies linked with alcohol, tobacco and weaponry. And so often the top 10 holdings of a global ESG ETF look like the top 10 holdings of a global tracker. I like to split the world into the old economy of established firms like HSBC and BP and the new economy of vibrant, dynamic companies, maybe like Fevertree. Ideally, ESG is a catalyst for disruptors of the new economy to oust the established old economy companies across many different sectors, not just technology. So I'm looking for an ESG fund that could contain companies that will dominate their markets in the years to come. That sounds like a big plug for Baillie Gifford. So here is Baillie Gifford Positive Change, which is their ESG fund. Growth has been pretty strong, and we can see that from the numbers here. However, I'm a bit put off by the concentration of the fund. These 7% holdings in companies like Moderna and Tesla, whose prices have already run up quite considerably in recent months. I'm kind of agreeing with Howard Marks in his book, The Most Important Thing, that high price is high risk. So if I was to purchase this fund, I'd have to take a longer term view on it to ensure that it would come good for me and develop the sort of returns I'd like, or have a smaller holding in it just in case some of these stars came crashing back down to earth. Baillie Gifford also have the investment trust Keystone Positive Change, ticker KPC, which mirrors this Positive Change fund. Other than that, investment trusts have a more limited ESG offering based around generating income from things like wind farms rather than investing in world-leading companies. So for something a bit more mainstream, we have Fundsmith Sustainable Equity. And we've got a graph of the share price here of Fundsmith Sustainable versus the ordinary Fundsmith. And they're pretty much identical. So the problem is that Fundsmith Sustainable is just Fundsmith without Philip Morris and without Diageo or Heineken. And then actually Philip Morris has been a strong performer for Fundsmith. So that's why there's a bit of a detraction in the performance. So really, Fundsmith Sustainable is more just avoiding a couple of companies rather than taking a whole new approach towards ESG investing. Before I talk about my favorite ESG fund, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and feel free to leave a comment. What is your favorite ESG fund? When I look for an ESG fund, I'm looking for things like the size of the fund and how much money it's been able to attract from investors, the longer term price trend of the fund, ideally something that's been around for 5 years or more, so I can really study how it works through the business cycle. Also look at the concentration of the fund. So how many holdings does it have? What's the percentage in the top 10? And then possibly any feelings that I have about the top 10 companies. So I expect by now you're wondering, where is the Google Sheet? So here it is, and I'll just find my favorite one is Lion Trust Sustainable Futures. So we've got the top holdings here that I just pull in from Hargreaves Lansdown. I've got the sectors here, country weightings here, number of holdings 49, fund size 1.6 billion. It's been around for quite a long time, nearly 20 years apparently. We've got the fund charge 0.88%. We've got the performance here from Fidelity, and you can see it has beaten a global large cap growth equity over pretty much all time periods there. So that's quite impressive. So I'm quite keen on some of these holdings. They're reasonable companies that have good long-term prospects. And then within this file, which I'll share the link for you, I compare the top sectors of a whole load of different ESG funds, the top 10 companies that they have, and the holdings that they have, top 10 countries of each one. So these are global funds, so it's no surprise that they've got US as number one. And then I summarize it all together here in this sheet, and then this is what I'd use to pick what I want to invest in. And I'd also look at things like the remit of the fund and how well the fund communicates with potential shareholders. But I would note that marketing material is all designed around making you buy the fund rather than being a truly objective assessment of that fund. So Interactive Investor have this ACE 40, and then these are the global funds they've got within the ACE 40. So it's a pretty good website for just exploring ESG investing. So for this fund, I'm going to include a link to it. You can just make a copy from the file menu, and then you can add in your own selections just by replacing the URL data. I sell some Google Sheets on eBay, which help people to select top performing investment trusts and ETFs, and I'll put a link to that in the description. And then I also offer coaching to help people build a portfolio and generally talk about investing. The first session is free. You can contact me via Twitter, LinkedIn, or you can email me at ianshadrack@gmail.com.